Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We're really excited to be here, as always, and share with you some of the things that we're learning and that we love to teach.
For sure. And when we're talking about emotional health and our Emotional Superpowers book, we get so excited because we know that these little reminders, and these are, some of these superpowered emotional health tips are things that we already know that are actually so simple, but then when we're reminded about them, it helps us to maybe bring it to our focus or to our attention so that we can give it a little bit more energy to help us in our everyday. And that's why we're here, is to just uplift, to inspire, and to brighten your day.
And we're so grateful that you take the initiative to make a difference in your family and in your own inner world. And we hope that you'll start today with our remarkable new oil, Brave. This is our courage blend for children, and we always like to put that on before we start a meeting and before we
thank you
face something or in the middle of something. I don't know how many of you had a weekend, but that's kind of this time of year is a time when all kinds of things come together, and it can feel a little bit overwhelming, but can be such a beautiful thing. And that's what we want to talk about today, is building our garden of courage and utilizing this superpower, confidence. Because we have the ability, and when we have the tools and have the support of a team like this, and can kind of tap into the truth about who we are and the powers that we do have and focus on those. And so that's what we want to talk about today.
I love that.
Yeah.
And just understanding, our journal pages and the image of that young girl painting her own sunflower. I think that there is a very strong pull for people to really identify strengths, recognize weaknesses, and where we stand with our values and our beliefs. And sometimes having confidence in our self-esteem or in our capabilities, or even in having confidence with our bodies and feeling okay with who we are and coming to that place where we can let go of judgment. I think judgment really weakens us in our levels of confidence. And I think letting go of the need to berate self or berate others or compare, I think it really weakens our confidence and puts us in a state where we're fearful that we're not good enough. And we just want to acknowledge that we have to work from the inside out. We have to really catch ourselves with that thinking and move to a place of acceptance for self and others. And we don't know other people's circumstances or what they're going through. They may portray themselves as superior or better than, and we may feel weak or less than. But we put ourselves there. And that's what we're really trying to get us to see, is paint your own sunflowers, paint the beauty that you see about yourself, and it'll spill out to others, and other people will be able to see themselves in that.
And in fact, fear is like a weed. And if you're planting that beautiful garden or painting your garden the color that you want it to be, then we all know what crowds out those beautiful flowers is fear. And that it crowds out the flower of joy in the garden of the heart. I love this. I think you wrote this, Pam. It's a beautiful way to describe what can happen if fear gets out of control.
I agree. And fear then automatically turns into judgment, because it's an underlying belief that I'm fearful that I'm not good enough. And then we go into judging, and then that definitely, it can turn our world in basically black and white with no color, and absolutes, all or nothing, either or, right or wrong, black and white, and it really makes it so that we can't grow and flourish in the garden of the heart. So go ahead.
So fear can be recognized by the words that comprise the thought patterns in our minds. And this was such an important moment for me when I finally started hearing the voice in my mind. I was like, wait, what? Is that my voice? Those are words I created in there. And of course, they can be fueled by what is happening on the outside world. However, we are the ones who decide if we're going to change those thought patterns, if we're going to recognize them and acknowledge whether they're healthy or unhealthy, true or not true, and how we're going to rewrite our story.
There we go. There we go. So some of the thoughts that we might be aware of inside is a feeling or an impression or a thought of I can't, or what if I fail? It's kind of breaking down certain resistance that we might have, or feeling paralyzed, or even recognizing some anxiety, and then slowing it down even further to find out what those thoughts are. And these are some of them. I can't, or what if I fail? What if I make a fool of myself? I'm not good enough. Those kinds of deep embedded beliefs and thoughts can hold us back in our lives. And when we can recognize where that's coming from, it's an old automated system, and we don't have to buy into that. We don't have to continue to support that in its existence. In fact, by changing our thoughts, that old automated system, through atrophy and non-use, will basically not be functioning anymore. By ignoring it, not giving it power, changing up your thinking with other thoughts, and turning them into positive. So go ahead.
So this is one of the most powerful statements in my mind, is that fear generates resistance. And I probably should have put there first, change often generates fear. Yes. Fear generates resistance. Actually, I think that's on our next slide. Oh, and resistance paralyzes us. And so that's what we want to talk about today, is when we accept what's happening, accept the things that we can't change, or accept that this is what it is, then that becomes the opposite of resistance. Resistance freezes us up. Acceptance flows. It helps us find a new way. It helps us embrace that change in a positive way.
I love it. And it's hard to do. Please know that we're talking about something that is really difficult to do. But at least we're talking about it, and at least we're working to model some of this in our own lives and help teach others so that maybe it won't be so difficult for us to approach change, or stepping outside of our comfort zone, and that comfort zone can expand and grow to maturity and to emotional self-reliance and to freedom. This is a great story.
And I hope as adults, we can hear this story and think of the different things in our lives. Just this morning, something was completely out of my normal path, my normal pattern, and I had to shift. And I noticed that as I shifted and started to flow with what was happening and accepted that there wasn't anything I could do about what was happening, then I started to notice those who were having a harder time shifting. Generally, children have kind of a struggle with change, and we don't recognize that. When we do recognize that, some beautiful things can happen for us and for that child. And this little story is about Lucy, and it's a typical common pattern of what can take place when change, especially big change, starts to happen. And Lucy finds out that her parents are expecting, her mom is expecting a new baby. And this is going to change everything in Lucy's life. She's been the only child, and she has loved being that child. And as it kind of hits her, the first thought and feeling she has is, this is not okay. My parents barely have enough time for me and the things I need. So I'm not really okay with the fact that this new baby is coming, because now my parents won't have any time for me. And then she remembers her smart heart tips and her superpowers, and she turns to this page, confidence, Garden of Courage, confidence. And she asks herself, what am I going to learn from this new experience, this new baby that's coming? And she realizes that she's going to learn how to take care of someone who can't take care of themselves, to recognize different cries, to know how to dress a new baby and feed a new baby, and to love someone who's pretty helpless and pretty dependent. And she got kind of excited about that. And then the next thing she thought is, what will I be able to teach this new baby? She thought of all the wonderful things that she loves so much about being on the planet and being in a family. And she realized that she was going to get to teach this little new baby how to talk, how to crawl, how to taste new foods, and to see the world in a beautiful way. And she got really pretty excited about it. So as she recognized that she was stronger and stronger as she started looking at the positive things that could come of these not so positive emotions, or these heavy emotions that she was initially having, and that she could use all of her emotions for good and for beauty. That changed everything for her, and she started telling people about this new baby that was coming and getting excited about it.
I love that. And this story just shows how simple things can be as we're trying to adjust to new thoughts, new ways of being, changes in our family or in our communities. And everybody kind of goes through that little process of figuring things out to the point where we can move to acceptance. And it can be an idea that we get used to, and we don't find ourselves in so much resistance or fear or anxiety or worry, and we don't have to stay in that space. Mm-hmm. Worry, yes, change oftentimes generates fear, and staying in a state of worry really depletes certain organs in the body of energy. We actually use a lot of energy to worry. It's really non-productive. It doesn't really have us take action. We ruminate in a state of worry and fear that paralyzes us. And so understand that, number one, our resistance to change is normal and part of our human experience, but how long we stay in resistance really is our choice. And there are things we can do, like Lucy, to move ourselves through that state of resistance so that then we can come to acceptance or more peace about the things that are happening that we might not have control over.
Right after I started learning this concept, I read a book called How to Make Yourself Miserable Over Anything, Yes, Anything.
That's like a cute title.
Yeah, it is. And he showed that over a 20-year period, he did a survey. He was a psychologist, and he surveyed thousands of his clients and came to the fact that there was one word that would guarantee happiness. And that if you couldn't, you wouldn't be happy. And that was the word acceptance. Mm-hmm. And so coming to that, think about it. Share with us your stories. Type them in on our website. And also look at our website about the upcoming events we're really excited about too.
Yes.
So keep going. I can change my thinking to help me handle change. Love that.
I love that. And yes, that awareness can make a big difference in how you respond to the changes that you're faced with, sometimes on a daily basis or a fairly regular basis. And the things that we can use, our superpower tools, breath, and even when we find that internal chaos and disruptive peace or anxiety, worry, we can remember to breathe. We can use our super smells and remember that we have oils to help us. We can maybe just take a couple minutes and do some yoga poses, or we can write it down and record it or color it out, some of the stress that we might be feeling. And then I wanted to just quickly share a story about Michael Phelps. And, he has, in the Olympics, won more gold medals with swimming than any other human on the planet. And I just wanted to share this story with you, that when he was a young child, he was very, very busy. And his mother, he had been adopted, and his mother was just working the best she could with him. But a swimming coach recognized his body type and his body shape and approached her and said, he would make a great swimmer. And he had that long torso and really wide feet and hands and upper body, shoulders, development, even as a young child. And so he asked the mother if she could put him into swimming lessons. And so she did. And he started to progress and excel. And he started to really identify some gifts and strengths in this area. Do you know that they not only worked with him to develop his swimming capacity, but they worked with him mentally, and they had him go through a routine every time before he had a race or before he had a diving situation. I don't know if he dived, but any kind of swimming activity. And then he had earphones, and he would go through the routine and the meditation that would calm his mind and put him in a state for success. Now, I'm sharing that with you because he started at an early age, and the coach knew how to help him develop, not just physically with the skills that his body had, but mentally and emotionally, so that he could manage internal fear of failing. And this track put him in a place for success over and over and over again. Well, we might not have had that when we were younger, but we can do that same thing with Train Your Brain and also managing fear, building your confidence. And the more successful you are at getting your rhythm and your patterns and setting that up for yourself, the more successful you'll be in managing any fears that you have, and help build your confidence.
I love that story. Magic is believing in yourself. If you can do that, you can make anything happen. We're so grateful for this opportunity to share these tools and to manifest your true potential, and not just in your family and in your own inner world, but also with your team. And we are so excited about how this dovetails so beautifully with doTERRA and the things that you can do in order to make essential oils a beautiful part of this transformation.
I love that. And I also just want to mention this week that we are going to be offering online the Emotional Superpowered Health Kits. And I have to talk about that because there's an opportunity for us to help children overcome their anxiety, their worry, their fears, their stresses, and they need support. This emotional health curriculum is really beautiful and simple for children. And you can subscribe to these Emotional Superpowered Fun Kits for the next upcoming year. It's a gift that lasts all year long, and you're going to want to check it out on the website. It opens for enrollment November 22nd, right on Thanksgiving Day. So it'll be an awesome thing. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Have a wonderful day.